madness. I mean, these stories just keep on coming. But one of the founders of the world's oldest breastfeeding support charity, this is Leche League International, has quit in protest at the inclusion of the charity of transgender women. I don't know how you can include transgender women because transgender women are men. I'm not sure they do breastfeed, although there has been, for some reason, some idea that some men can be given drugs to breastfeed their child. But I thought we weren't giving drugs to children. We don't give them Calpol even without, a doctor's assurance. But let's talk about this with Bev Jackson. She's co-founder of the LGB, that's Lesbian Gay Bi Alliance, and joins us now. Good morning to you, Bev.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
I mean, genuinely, I looked at the story, Mark. You go, well, hold a minute. Well, how have they included transgender women? We know what transgender women are. They are men who identify as if they're women, but they're men. Now, last time I looked, I've yet to see a single man who can breastfeed. So in what way is Leche International actually pandering to these men's needs?
Well, this is just part of the lie, isn't it? That the lie that we've all been told, that we have to believe that some women are men and some men are women, and we simply have to accept that. I see that when she resigned, she condemned the group's shift from focusing on mothering to indulging the fantasies of adults. We should say indulging the fantasies of men, and I think we do have to start just calling them men, because the public is completely confused when you say trans women. They say, what are those again? Are those women who want to be men or men who want to be women?
I've started doing that, just saying men who identify or believe they're women. Well, this is it. I mean, the woman who's resigned, Marian Tompson, she's 94 years old. She's been with that charity since the beginning. And again, a lot of women who, I was very lucky. I put my daughter in. She was born 18 years ago on Friday. We celebrated her 18th birthday last week. And I remember literally within seconds of her being born, I was breastfeeding, had no problems. And I've had so many friends who've gone through such anguish trying to breastfeed or difficulties. And it's so much pressure on lots of women now that these sort of charities do really, really amazing work. But it's largely women helping women, isn't it?
And it's women prioritising their babies. We prioritise our children. Mothering is about what you do, which is best for the child, not what is best for your own fantasies. And that is what's so... I mean, some of these lies are really pernicious. This is one of them. Another one is men who claim to be lesbians, which is, of course, for my organisation, particularly disgusting. And it's a kind of theft of what is essentially female. And we just won't stand for it.
Well, exactly. And people are fed up with it. And I actually hate the fact that people now are saying, female as opposed to woman. No, I'm not giving away the word woman. You're a woman, I'm a woman. Tom Sater's here, he's a man. We all know what we are. When my daughter was born, I didn't go, I wonder what she's going to, or they are going to identify as. I looked down, it was a girl, she's a girl, and she'll be a girl, she'll be a woman for the rest of her life. She can't change that. Now,
and that's why these self-ID laws are so pernicious. I mean, the new one that's just come into effect in Germany allows parents to change the gender and this whole sex and gender thing, let's not get into that, of their child from birth. And I mean, it is really pernicious because it is based on a lie.
But exactly,
and we have to get back to the truth.
Get back to the truth, get back to the facts, and particularly in anything medical or anything to do with health. And we're talking, if you can breastfeed, it's very good for your baby, it's the health of the baby. We should always be focusing on the facts, and this is the key thing. That we've been so much work over the years so that women can feel comfortable. I always breastfed in public, do not care. You can do it subtly, you don't have to flop them out, for goodness sake. Give me a break, ladies. But then we had this move towards, apparently men believing that they could, if they wanted to identify as women, whether they could breastfeed, using drugs. And there was a big argument online the other day about how, but men can breastfeed. They can take certain drugs that will induce their nipples to produce stuff. Now, I'm sorry, when you have a newborn baby, the one thing you don't do is give your child any unnecessary drugs. My God, you don't give them paracetamol before the age of 12, for goodness sake. That's how careful we are. But we're just going to give some weird hormonal drugs to a man so he can have a baby latch onto his hairy nipple. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm sorry. We're into sexual abuse territory at that point, in my view. We're not talking about kids.
And we hear of women who wish to be men, who call themselves trans men, continuing to take testosterone while getting pregnant, which is actually the thing that women do. And that this being said, I heard an activist say the other day that testosterone might possibly affect the fetus, but we shouldn't focus on that because we mustn't normalise having normal babies. I mean, really, We are into some really quite horrible territory here.
We really are. But again, totally undermining the very definition of what it is to be a woman and frankly, the greatest thing that we do, which is to carry, if those who do have a child, but able to carry a child and to feed a child. It's the most magnificent, wonderful thing in the world.
Yes, and of course, breastfeeding is a continuation of the symbiotic relationship that you have with your baby when in the 9 months that you're nurturing it while she or he is still inside you.
Yeah, exactly. But can I ask you about another story, though? Because I think we're all in agreement on that. Everyone's sane is, and we just need to speak up about it more because people don't realise this stuff is happening. But there's also another story, and I love this man. This is Jim Orwin, and he's 67 years old, and he's been sacked by East Riding Yorkshire Council for using an email footer about his pronouns because there was a suggestion from the boss. Would everyone like to use their preferred pronouns? Now, I would have guessed that Jim Orwin was a he, him, and I'd call him Mr. Orwin in a letter to him. But no, preferred pronouns. So he looked up what the preferred pronouns was, and he decided because you were allowed to put anything you wanted, he decided that his were XY chromosome guy / adult human male. Now, it's about himself. He's pointing out that he is a man, that we just use that word, man. He got sacked because he refused to stop using that preferred pronoun header or footer, and he's now been hit with a £12,000 legal bill for a tribunal battle. But he says he's got no regrets, and I'm glad, and I think we should crowdfund the payment for him. Why, if anyone can identify as anything they want, why can't he identify as the thing he actually is?
Well, we're just all fed up with this compelled speech, aren't we? We are really fed up, and obviously our sympathies are with this man, but he seems to have said in court that this was a protest rather than standing up for his beliefs, and that's why this case went the way it is, and that's very unfortunate, because of course we're just all fed up with it. We're fed up with being told that we can have that we should have preferred pronouns. We're fed up with having to lie about people's sex. And some of us are starting to lose our patience. And I think we have to realise that this is going to take a very long time. It's Japanese knotweed. It's worked its way into every institution of our society. And we have to take a deep breath and just fight back slowly, one step at a time.
Absolutely. I love it. I think when women like you and me get fed up with something, things usually start changing. I've got my faith in you, Bev Jackson, wonderful campaigner, co-founder of the LGB Alliance. Thank you for that. Tom Slater, you guys at Spiked have been fantastic on this issue, fighting the insanity. But it is just extraordinary, both of these stories. No, absolutely. And it just shows, as Bev was saying there, how deeply rooted a lot of this stuff is. It's going to take a hell of a lot of time to dislodge, and I think it's going to take people going more on the offensive and to say, we're not going to brook this ideology. You're entitled. Quiet anymore. You're entitled to these views, but we're entitled to say what you're saying is absolute nonsense, and you're not going to compel people to agree with you under fear of cancellation. Those days are over, and you just I think there's always a tendency to just always declare it over. It's nowhere near over. It's absolutely nowhere.